Bear to You by Sylvia Day Chapter 11 Part 2. Before listening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. That stung. Reporters are going to dig, Carrie. And they're going to find dirt. And since it's juicy dirt, they're going to splash it all over hell and back. And it's going to embarrass Gideon. Baby girl. He set his hand over mine. Stanton. Buried all that. Stanton. I straightened. I hadn't thought of my stepfather. He'd see the disaster coming and keep a lid on it because he knew what the revelation would do to my mother. Still, I'll have to talk to Gideon about it. He has a right to be warned. Just the thought of that conversation made me miserable. Carrie knew how my brain worked. If you think he's going to cut and run, I think you're wrong. He looks at you like you're the only person in the room. I poked at my tuna Caesar salad. He's got a few demons of his own. Nightmares. He's closed himself off, I think, because of whatever's eating at him. But he's let you in. And he'd already shown hints of how possessive he could be about that connection. I accepted that because it was a flaw I shared, but still, you're analyzing this to death, Eva, Carrie said. You're thinking the way he feels about you has to be a fluke or a mistake. Someone like him couldn't really be into you for your big heart and sharp mind, right? My self-esteem isn't that bad, I protested. He took a sip of his champagne. Isn't it? So tell me something you think he likes about you that doesn't have to do with sex or codependency. I thought about it and came up empty, which made me scowl. Right, he went on with a nod. And if Cross is anywhere near as messed up as we are, he's thinking the same thing in reverse, wondering what a hot babe like you sees in a guy like him. You've got money, so what has he got going for him besides being a stud who keeps screwing up? Sitting back in my chair, I absorbed everything he'd said. Carrie, I love you madly. He grinned. Back atcha. Sweets. My advice, for what it's worth. Couples therapy. It's always been my plan to get into it when I find the one I want to settle down with. And try to have fun with him. You've got to have as many good times as bad, or it all becomes too painful and too much work. I reached over and squeezed his hand. Thank you. For what? He shrugged off my gratitude with an elegant wave of his hand. It's easy to pick apart someone else's life. You know I couldn't get through my rough spots without you. Which you don't have any of now, I pointed out, shifting the focus to him. You're about to be splashed across a Times Square billboard. You won't be my secret any longer. Should we upgrade dinner from pizza to something more worthy of the occasion? How about we haul out that case of Crystal Stanton gave us? Now you're talking. Movies. Anything in particular you want to watch? Whatever you want. I wouldn't want to screw with your big dumb blow 'em up movie genius. I grinned, feeling better as I'd known I would after an hour with Carrie. You'll let me know if I'm too dense to figure out when you and Trey want to be alone. Ha. Don't worry about that. You're tempestuous. Love life is making me feel dull and boring. I could use a hot, sweaty bang with my own stud. You just had a maintenance closet romp a couple days ago. He sighed. I'd nearly forgotten. How sad is that? It isn't when your eyes are laughing. I'd just gotten back to my desk when I checked my smartphone and found a text from Gideon letting me know he had 15 minutes to spare at 2:45. I nursed a secret rush of anticipation for the next hour and a half, having decided to take Carrie's advice and have a little fun. Gideon and I would have to wade through the ugliness of my past soon enough, But for now, I could give us both something to smile about. I texted him just before I left, letting him know I was on my way. Considering the time constraints, we couldn't waste a minute. Gideon must have felt the same way, because I found Scott waiting for me at reception when I reached the Cross Industries waiting area. He walked me back after. The receptionist buzzed me in. "How's your day been?" I asked him. He smiled. "Great so far. Yours?" I smiled back. "I've had worse." Gideon was on the phone when I entered his office. His tone was clipped and impatient as he told the person on the other end of the line that they should be able to manage the job without him having to oversee it personally. He held up one finger to me to tell me he'd be another minute. I responded by blowing a big bubble with the gum I was chewing and popping it loudly. His brows shot up, and he hit the buttons to close the doors and frost the glass wall. Grinning, I sauntered over to his desk and hopped onto it, curling my fingers around the lip and swinging my legs. He popped the next bubble. I blew with a quick jab of his finger. I pouted prettily.